Hello, good morning, my friends. My English learners, welcome. My name is Vinod Gangwal. You are listening your best podcast channel, Vinod English Podcast Zone. I am so happy to have you here today. Whether you are listening while walking, driving, cooking, just relaxing. I want to say thank you for joining me in this podcast. It means a lot of to me and I am excited to help you on your English learning journey. Today's episode. We are going to talk about something that many English learners struggle with understanding native speakers. I know it can be though especially when native speakers talks so quickly and use slang or speak in way that can be confusing. You might be asking yourself, why is it so hard for me to understand English speakers? How do I keep up with their conversation? Don't worry, my friends, you are not alone. Many learners feel the same way, but here is the good news for you. You can definitely improve your ability to understand native speakers in today's episode. I am going to help you step by step, well break everything down, and I shall share some powerful tips that will make easier for you to understand native speakers and to feel more confident in English listening skills. So let's begin. First, let's talk about why understanding native speakers can be difficult. You might think that just knowing the vocabulary and grammar rules is enough, but that is not the whole story. Understanding spoken English, especially from native speakers, is different because of things like speed accounts, connected speech. Don't worry. If those words sound confusing right now, we are going to talk about all of them. Why is it so hard to understand native speakers? You have ever had a conversation with a native speakers? Felt completely lost you? Might have caught in few words here, there, but the rest of it seemed like a blur. This is a very common experience of English learners. It happens for a few reasons. First, native speakers often quick speak, but they don't always pronounce words clearly. They might blend words together and draw sound and use concentration like I am instead of I am which can make it hard to understand. For an example, when native speakers say going to instead to going to or want to instead of want to, it sounds different from what you might have learned in textbooks during lessons. Second, accent and dialects can make it more challenging to understand different English speakers. English is spoken all around the world, and every region has its own speaking, whether it's American accent or British accent, Australian accent, and many other. Each has its own unique sound, pronunciations, and rhythm. When you are listening to someone with an accent that is different from what you are used to, and it can feel like they are speaking a different language, even thought it is still English another reason. Why understanding native speakers is though is they often use slang and informational language. Slang words and phrases are common in everyday conversation, but they are not usually taught In traditional English classes, for an example, if someone says, "What's up?" Hey, my guys, if someone says, "What's up?" they are not asking for opinion of whether, they are just saying, "Hello, how are you?" Understanding these casual expression is essential. If you want to keep up with the native speakers, lastly, there is something called connected speech. This is when words are pronounced together so clearly it is hard to separate them. For instance, when a native speaker speaks, like "I am going to go," the words are linked together. It might sound like "I am going to go" instead of saying each word separately. If you are not familiar with it, it can make listening to fast speech challenging. But don't worry, all of these are normal. Native speakers do not always speak perfectly. With some practice, you shall able to understand them more clearly. It takes time. It's completely possible. And in today's episode, we are going to go over some practical tips which help to you understand the English language, and techniques to improve your listening or real conversation. So my dear friends, subscribe my channel. I will teach you how to pronounce, how to speak in best way. One of the best way to get better in understanding native speakers is to listen to real conversation. This means listening to people speaking naturally, not just recording of slow and scripted speech. Why? Because native speakers don't speak like a textbook recording. They speak quickly and use slang and connect their words together in the way that might be new to you. So, how can do you this? Start by listening the podcast on YouTube videos in English choice topics that interest you, whether it's all about sports, even cooking, and more you listen to natural conversation, the better you will get the understand. How native speakers talk here? Tips: don't focus too much on understanding single words. Instead, they are trying to understand general meanings of conversation. The goal is to get used to the speed and rhythm of natural speech. If you don't understand the word, that's okay, no problem. Just keep listening and try to catch the main idea, what they are saying. Don't be afraid to rewind and listen again and again. It's completely normal to need to hear something more than our time. Your brain will start to get used to the sound and pattern of spoken English. You shall begin to understand more tips. Two-way pay attention to accent. As I mentioned earlier, there are many different English accents. Each has its own unique pronunciation and rhythm. The way people speak in London sound different from the people who speak in New York and Sydney. If you are struggle to understand the particular accent, it's important to practice with the specific accent. If you know, you shall speak with people from a particular region like the United States and UK. Try to focus on listening that accent more. For an example, you can watch TV shows, movies, the features and characters from the region. You could listen the podcast of that regions, and that will speakers from area. More exposure you get a particular accent very easier. It will be understand. Remember, don't be discouraged if you can't understand everything right away. It take time. It take time, friends. And the more you practice, more you natural it feel. Tip 3, focus on keywords. When native speakers talk, they often speak quickly. Don't worry. If you miss a few words here, there is the key to understand it to be focused on the important words in the sentence. Native speakers often leave out some small words like are, or they may shorten them casually. Speech these small words important for grammar. They don't always affect the overall meanings of what being said. Instead of stressing about understanding every word, try to focus on the keywords that carry the meaning. These usually the nouns, names of things, people, verbs, action words, and adjectives describing words. For an example, if someone say I'm going to the store to buy some grocery, my dear friends, if someone says I'm going to the store to buy some groceries, you don't need to understand some, just focus on store, buy, and grocery. That will help you to get main idea. You can practice by this, listening a conversation and trying to pick out the some important word they used. In summarizing what the conversation was about in your words, techniques will help you improve your understanding of native speakers, especially when they spoke fast. Use unfamiliar vocabulary. Tips for use subtitles. If you are watching movies, TV shows, YouTube videos, use subtitles. Help you understand what being said. Subtitles are especially help because they allow to see the words as you hear them, which help you match spoken words with written text. This is a great way to improve your both listening and reading skills. There is a helpful strategy. Start with subtitles in your native language. If you need extra help, once you feel comfortable, switch to English subtitles. This will allow to you see the exact words being spoken in English. It will help you to get used to how to words are pronounced. Eventually, you can challenge yourself by watching without subtitles, and all this will help you focus more on listening and understanding the spoken words without any distractions. One thing to remember, that not all subtitles are perfect. Sometimes they don't match exactly what the speakers are saying, especially with the slang and informal language. But don't worry, just keep listening and use the subtitle as a guide, not as a crutch. Over time, you shall start the understand more without needing them. 5 tips. Break out the speech into chunk. When you are listening to a native speaker can help over blaming because they speak in long sentences without stopping. But the truth is, native speakers tend to break their speech into small chunks is especially true in conversation, where speakers often pause between idea or phases. To improve your understanding practice by breaking the speech into chunks, when you listen to a sentence, try to identify natural pauses of example. Listen to a sentence like, here is the best example to understand, my dear friends. Like, I went to the store and then I saw my friend. We decided to grab some coffee. There is a clear breakdown. I went to the store and I saw my friend. We decided to grab some coffee. These are naturally breaks in speech that can make it easier for understand. You can practice by listening a short conversation and pausing it. After each chunk, try to understand meaning of each part before moving on the next one. This will help you process information in small pieces, making it easy to understand. Fast speech tips 6, shadowing. Now, let's talk about a technique called shadowing. Shadowing is when you listen a native speaker and repeat what they say immediately, trying to match their speed rhythm and pronunciation as closely as possible. It is like you are there shadow copying their every words. This is a powerful technique. Shadow is very powerful technique to speak English and learn English because it trains both your ears and mouth. By listening to and repeating the sentence you hear, you shall become more familiar with native speakers. You shall always improve your pronunciation rhythm and intonation, which are the important for understanding spoken English. To get started with the shadowing, choose a short video and audio clip that features natural speak. Listen to a sentence to then pause and repeat exactly what you heard. Try to copy the way speaker says each words, paying attention to their tone, how they stress and certain words. This will help you sound more naturally, make it easier to understand other speakers who talk same way. So don't worry if you can't keep up. The first shadow takes practice and it's okay if you don't get everything right the first time. Keep practicing and over time your understanding native speakers will improve. Tips. Now turn into tips number 7. Practice listening to different accent. As I mentioned earlier, accent can make it harder to understand native speakers. But this does not mean you should avoid them. In fact, the more you expose yourself to different accent, the better you shall become understanding a variety of English speakers, starting by listening to accent from different region, different country. You could listen to a British, American, Australian, even African accent. Each accent has its own unique sound. The way of pronunciating words. By practicing with different accent, you shall train your brain to understand English in variety of ways. If you are not sure where to start, you could try watch TV shows, movies from different countries. For an example, you could watch a British movie, then an American one, then an Australian one. Listen carefully how two characters speak and try to notice any difference in their pronunciation over time. You shall find it easier to understand people from different parts of the world. Tip number 8. Slow down. The speed, if you are struggling to keep up the speed of native speakers, there is no harm in slow things down bit. Many podcast YouTube like Vinod English podcast. You have to subscribe and share. You will learn the slow down. You have to watch podcast on YouTube, videos, audiobooks allow to adjust the speed of audio. Start by listening to consent at a slower speed. As you get more comfortable, gradually increase the speed by slowing things down. You shall be able to catch more words and understand the speaker's tone and rhyme more clearly. Once you feel confident at a slower practice, challenge yourself by increasing the speed just a little bit at the time. Gradual process will help you keep up with fast native speakers in the future. Tips. Tip number 9. Don't be afraid to ask clarification. Finally, remember that it's okay to ask for clarification. If you don't understand something, native speakers are usually very understanding. Will be help to repeat what they said and explain in the same different way. Don't be embarrassed if you don't understand. Everyone had been there. If you are in a conversation, you don't catch something, just say copy. Sorry, could you say again? If you are in a conversation with someone on podcast, you are sitting there. If you are not able to catch something, then you have to say, sorry, could you say that again? Or, I don't quite understand, could you explain it differently? Most people appreciate you are trying to improve your English, and they shall be happy very much. So now we are turn on tip number 10. Use context clause. One of the best way to understand native speakers is to use context clause when you are listening the situation on the topic. Even the body language of speakers can give you a lot of information about what being said something. If you don't understand a specific word and phrases, try to figure out based on their small meaning of conversation. For an example, if you are in a conversation about food, someone says something like, I'm going to grab a bite. Even if you are not sure about the exact meaning of bite, you can guess from the context that they are talking about eating. Context clause are the little hints in the conversation that help you fill in the gap. When you don't understand every words and techniques works in a lot of situations, just not food. Daily life tips. For an example, if you are listening to a story, someone says the car broken down and we had called for a toy. You can copy that. Toy means help with getting the car to repair shop. Even if you don't know the exact definition of the word, over time your brain will become better at picking up on the clues. It will make understanding native speakers much easier. Now turn on tip number 11. Be patient with yourself. It is important to patience with yourself when it comes to understand native speakers language. Learning is a process. It takes time to adjust different speed accent and speech pattern. It's completely normal to feel like you are not understanding everything right away, but you don't let that discourage you. Shall remember fluency does not happen overnight. Every time you listen to a native speaker, you are making progress. Day by day, you have to practice. Even if you don't realize that, the key is to keeping practice, to keep pushing yourself. Over time your brain will start to recognize the words and structures of spoken English. It will become easier to understand. If you ever feel frustrated, take a break. Remind yourself how far you have come. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. Celebrate small victories like understanding sentence you could not before, or catching a word that used to be unclear. These moments add up, and before you know, you shall be much more comfortable understanding native speakers. So now your friend Mr. Vinod has come tips number 12. Practice with listening comprehension and exercises. If you are looking for a structured way to improve your listening skills, listening comprehension exercises are great way to go. Many language learner app websites like books offers exercises where you can listen to a recording, then answer the question based on what you had heard. These exercises are designed to help you practice understanding different type of spoken English conversation to lectures, news, broadcast and podcast. They help you focus on listening for a specific information which can be used in a real conversation. As well, you can find a variety of listening comprehension exercises at different difficulties levels. So start something that match your current skill. Gradually increase the different difficulties as you improve. These exercises will not only improve your ability to understand native speakers, but they also help you to learn listen for detail, which is important for real world communication. Tip number 13. Improve your vocabulary. Very important. Friends, you improve your vocabulary is very important before your listening skills, spoken English practices. The vocabulary, the more words you know, the easier it will be understand the native speakers. If you are only familiar with basic vocabulary, it can be hard to keep up fast speed of conversation, especially when native speakers use idiom, expression and slang. One way to improve your vocabulary is to learn new words every day. Make it a list of words that encounter while listening the podcast, watching TV shows, reading. Then look up their meaning. Focus on learning words that commonly used in every conversation. Every time you shall notice that you are able to recognize more words and phrases when native speakers use them. Another effective way to improve your vocabulary is by learning collections, which are groups of words that often go together. For an example, instead of just learning the words, learn common phrases like make a decision, make a mistake, make an effort. That will help you to understand how words fit together in a real conversation. Now, your friend, your host, Mr. Vinod, has come. Tip number 14: get comfortable with idiomatic expression. Native speakers often use idiomatic expression in casual conversation. These expressions can be confusing if you are not familiar with them. An idiom is a phrase whose meaning is different from the literal meaning of words. For example, it's raining cats and dogs does not mean animals are falling from the sky. It means it raining heavily. While it might to be hard to understand the idiomatic expression, first they are an important part of natural speeches. To get comfortable with them, start by learning some of the most common idioms. You can do this by listening conversation and paying attention to expression that you don't understand. Look them up. Practice using them in your own speech over time. You shall find that start recognizing items more easily, and your ability to understand native speakers will improve automatically. Tip number 15: practice active listening. Active listening is very important to practice active listening. Listening means you are fully engaged and focus on the speaker rather than just passively hear the words. When you are listening actively, you pay attention to the speaker tone, body language, and the context the conversation, which will help you to understand the meaning more clearly. You can practice active listening by trying to repeat what the speaker says in your words. This is called paraphrasing. It's a great way to check your understanding. If you can repeat what you have heard accurately, it means you shall be understand. The massive active listening also means that you don't interrupt the speakers, let them finish their thought before responding. This will help you catch all the details, make it easier to understand the full message. So tip number 16: join conversation group. One of the best way to improve your listening and speaking English is by joining conversation group. Conversation group are a great way to practice real world conversation with another learners. Even with the native speakers, you can find these groups online in a person depending on where you are living. You live many apps, websites, social media platforms, host online conversation groups where you can practice English with others from all over the world. The great thing about these groups is that they give you a chance to practice listening to different accent and speaking in relaxed, non-judgmental environment. Pulse. You shall get feedback from the people which can help you improve your listening speaking skills and abilities. When you are participate in the real conversation group, try to focus not only on speaking but also on listening actively. Make sure you understand what others are saying before jumping in this. This will help you become more comfortable with the speed of real conversation and improve your ability to understand native speakers. Tip number 17. Focus on stress and information in English. The stress and information of a sentence can change the meaning of what being said is said. Stress refer which symbols or words are emphasized in the sentence. Refer to the rise and fall of the voice while speaking. These are important part of spoken English. They can sometimes make it tricky to understand what they being said. For an example, if someone says, "Don't say you stole my book," depend on which words you are stress, the meaning the sentence can change. If you say, "Don't say to stole my books," it means someone say might have stolen. But if you say, "I didn't say you stole my book," it means you don't speak those words. To improve your understanding stress and try to listening the native speakers and paying attention to which words they stress. Each sentence notice how to pitch of their voice and rises, falls. You can also practice repeating sentence, copying their stress, and it will help you to understand the natural rhythm. Tip number 18. Use transcripts and listen again something. It helps to use transcript to help you understand what native speakers are saying. Many podcasts, YouTube videos, audios, resources after transcript, they show the exact word being spoken. You can use these transcripts for following along with you listen. Here is a great practice method. First, listen to conversation and audio without the transcript. Try to catch as much you can. After listening, check the transcript for see what you have missed. Then listen again and while reading along with the transcript. This will help you to connect the sound you are hearing with the words. You can make it easier to understand spoken English in the future. Once you get more comfortable with this, try to listen the conversation again without the transcript. See how much you more can understand over time. Notice that you are really less on the transcript and understand more from just listening to. Tip number 19. Learn to recognize filler. Native speakers often use filler words in the their conversation. These are words, sounds don't add much meaning, are used to fill phrases, give speakers time to think. Some common fillers in English are the words like ha, you know, like at a time. These fillers can be distracting or confusing because they may be the real conversation sound less clearly. Don't worry, feeling your normal in everyday speech. They are often used to keep real conversation. Recognizing them will help you focus more than the important part of a conversation. The key is to not get too distracted by the fillers. Instead, focus on them main points. Speaker is trying to make once you start recognizing fillers. You shall not able to filler them out. Focus on the content of conversation. Tip number 20. Watch TED Talks. Educational video. If you are looking for high quality clear English speech, TED Talks an example resources. Talks feature spoken speakers from all over the world talking about the interesting topics to the speakers in the TED Talks. Tend to speak clearly at a moderate pace, which make it easy for English learners to follow along. Can start by watching TED Talks with English subtitles. Like the movies, TV shows, after you feel comfortable, challenge yourself to watch without subtitles and improve your learning skills. Tip number 22. 21. Focus on practical vocabulary. When you are trying to understand, native speakers can help you focus on practical vocabulary that is used in every common conversation. While it's great to learn advanced vocabulary, you shall find the native speakers use common words and phrases in their daily lives. By focusing on these practical words, you shall be able to understand more what being said. In a real conversation, start by learning vocabulary related to daily activities such as food, travel, work, hobbies, shopping. Practice using these words in a sentence so you can recognize them. Then native speakers use them will help you feel more comfortable in every conversation. Make it easier to understand what others are saying. So my dear friends, if you are a new user, please subscribe my podcast zone. I am your host, Mr. Vinod. I will teach you how to speak in a very friend way, very common way. It will help to understanding your English language very easy. Tip number 22. Listen to different types of audio to improve your understanding of a native speakers. It is a good idea to listen to different type of audio. You can listen to a news broadcast, interviews, podcast, radio shows, even YouTube videos like Vinod English Podcast Zone. All these type of audio will expose you to different speaking styles and vocabulary which help you to become more versatile in your listening. For an example, news broadcasts tend to use more formal languages while podcast or YouTube video might be more casual than the conversational. By listening to a variety of sources, you shall get a more well-rounded understanding of how native speakers communicate in a different areas. Tip number 23. Keep a listening journey. One help tip for improve your English listening skill is keep a listening journey. In the journey, wrote down new words and phrases, expressions that hear while you learning a native speakers. You can also make notes about the context which they were used, how the speaker said them. By keeping track on the words and phases that are most difficult for you to understand. You shall be able to focus on learning them. You can even try use these words in your own speech to practice and reinforce what you are learn. This will help you to build your vocabulary and improve your ability to understand native speakers. Tip number 22. Use technologies and apps to improve your listening skills. In a today's world, there is an amazing variety of apps, technology available can help you to improve your English listening skills. These tools can give you the opportunity to practice listening anytime, anywhere, making it easier to fit practice into busy life. Some one of best apps for improve your skill include learning apps like Duolingo, Babel, Memories, which focus on building your vocabulary and listening comprehensible. These apps often feature audio clips and quizzes to test your understanding of spoken English. Another great opinion is subscribe my channel, friends. This is very important to improve your English, to learn new words, how to pronunciation, how to conversation. So hit and like the button. That can help you memorize new words, phrases. You can hear a real conversation while watching videos. Not just language app. You can help our many podcast apps like Apple Podcast offer a wide range of English content, a different level of whatever you preferring listening to news, stories, interviews, podcast about specific topics like science or business. These apps give you endless opportunity to practice listening to native speakers for more immersive practical. These apps also designed especially for listening to English conversation like Hello Talk, Tandem. These apps connect with the native speakers who can also practice listening, making real conversation. So, next, interactive and personalized. You can adjust these speed to audio repeat difficult sections, even slow down the conversation, make sure the catch every words. It is an excellent way to track your progress and practice at your own pace. Thank you so much for spreading your time with me. My name is Vinod, your host today on English Fluency teacher channel like Vinod English Podcast Zone. I truly hope you enjoyed the episode. More importantly, found the tips useful as you work on your mastering your English skills. Remember, understanding native speakers does not have to feel out the reach it. All about practicing consistently, giving yourself the practice kindness you deserve as you grow every step, no matter how small it's. Seem it a step forward. Celebrate your progress every chance you get because each efforts bring you closer to fluency. To quick recap today, we covered why native speakers can sometimes be challenging to understand and share a practical step to make it easier for you from listening to real conversation and shadowing the break speech into a chunk. Learning to identify accent, we have explored tools that can set to focus. Don't worry, don't forget practical, and practice really is the key of success. The key, more you work this strategy into your routine, more you naturally, confidently you shall begin feel. Now it's your turn to take what you have learned today and put into the action. Try rewind that favorite scenes from a TV show, listening for connected speech, spend a few minutes shadowing in clip. You shall love everything you practice makes a different consistency in your best. If you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you could easily share with someone who is learning English. Supporting each other make language learning process even more rewarding and fun. After we are stronger when we learn together and don't able to say shy about reaching out. My ID really love you here for your tips you are most excited to try to do. You have your own strategy to improve English speaking and listening skills. You would like to share whatever a message in my comment box, even a social media post. Feel free to connect with me and share your thoughts. If you tag me, I shall sure to cheer you and celebrate your progress. Test lastly, don't forget to subscribe the channel so would not miss out any new episode. Next time we shall be tackling another engaging topic that sure to help you to improve your English speaking skill and build even more confidence. I am here to cheering you on every step of the way. I can't wait to continue this learning journey together. Thank you again for being with me and investing in your English skill. So I am proud of you, my dear friends. The efforts you are putting in, all these progress you are making, believe in yourself and enjoy the process because